Whoa, it's the illusion. Reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. Just here, doing a little, just chilling. This is a video for the dads out there, or parents in general. So I dropped Owl off at school today. Owl's 4.5. He's almost 5, actually. He's closer to 5 than 4.5. And so I dropped him off, and, he's at school. He's got his little crew of friends there, and, he's always stoked to go see them and the whole thing. And so I kind of sat back, and I was just watching them run around and play, and it's Owl's his own unique human being. He is his own trippy self. And so I was watching him, and I was trying to figure out where he was in the group of friends, and like how they were I was just kind of watching them all and seeing how they interacted. And you have this weird thing where you're like, is he gonna be okay? And it's like a powerful thing because, when he's with me, he's with me. Like, I got him under my wing. He's my little bird. But, watching him out in the world with his friends, and he didn't know I was watching him. I was just kind of kicking the back watching him, and I was looking at him, and it's very interesting because he's definitely an observer, and he doesn't get too sucked into other people's trips. But I also remember how hard and awkward it is to be a kid, man. And just, kids can be pretty brutal to each other on a certain level. And I was watching, there seemed to be one kid kind of leading the show this morning, and I saw him with this other friend, and I don't know what they've got going on over there, and because they had already been at school for a little while before Owl arrived. And it was that thing where I guess I was like, I have to let him face his own challenges, right? In life and social hierarchies and that whole thing. And you just don't know what's going on. I think that's more what this video is about, is I just had no clue what's going on, and I was just trying to watch his face, and I didn't see him concerned or unconcerned, but I was just sitting there with, watching my boy, dude, just being like, as he grows older, it's going to be moves further into the rest of the world. And you got to kind of sit back and just let it be and be like, all right, you're going to be okay. But you just don't know, right? It was more of a fascinating moment about myself versus what was going on with Owl, because I was over here. You know what I mean? I was definitely separated, and I was in my own bubble watching him in his own bubble. And I was there was the separation. I think that was what sort of tripped me out. I was like, oh, he's on his own right now. He's doing, he wouldn't be stoked if I interfered. He doesn't want me to come over there, and he wouldn't care, but you know what I mean? Respecting his space as a little human being doing his own thing. And then they all ran off somewhere and went around the corner. And I was I was asking myself these questions, how does he feel about himself? I was asking him, in my mind, I wanted to ask him all these questions about how do you feel about yourself? Are you sure? What's your take on what's going on? Do you feel comfortable? it was a very interesting thing. And I think that like when I was watching him, it was partly my own issues, if you will. But you're watching your little human, my little mini me, and I'm like, all right. And I guess I just wanted at the end of it, all I wanted him to be was happy. It's very interesting. Like, I think people are like, oh, maybe that's the way it used to be. Like, what do you want your child to be? Like, do you want him to be like an astronaut or a firefighter? I think I just want my son to be happy. Like, I just want him to feel good about himself. And then I was thinking about my own space with him, and I was like, because it's definitely like changing a little bit in that space of like, he's developing his own space, if you will, but we still share like the space. But I was like thinking about how I need to adjust to his space now, that because he definitely can articulate and he has his own agenda. And it's very interesting on that level, because the only one I can control is me, right? And as a parent, I like, how many mistakes do I make in a day, right? How many moments do I miss an opportunity, and then you just realize that there's no amount of anything you can do except showing up and trying to like constantly correct my path. Like, it's not about correcting his path. It's all about me correcting my path. I think that's what I was tripping on today, was like, I can't do anything about his journey in the world at a certain point except how I interact with his journey, right? Like, I can teach him things. I can be calm when he's acting out. I can answer his questions. I can teach him things. I can show him things. I can do all these things. And yet I have to fully respect his being and not interject too much, and yet not try to alter his interaction with me too much either. Because it's been interesting, because as he's entered a phase, he's definitely more asserting his own space, his own power, his own, I don't know what the word is, his own personality and his own wants and needs. And so it's funny, he definitely can put the e-brakes on things where you're like, oh, and he's like, nah, I'm not doing that, dude. And it's like, it's that weird thing, man. One day, dude, it's changing. It's very interesting. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about, except I was just observing myself, observing Owl, and I felt good, but I felt a melancholy. I felt all these things that I just observed, and nothing needed to be done about it. But it was just that overwhelming thing of like, all I want him to be is okay and happy in the world. And at a certain point, I can't micromanage that. Like, it was like a weird, like, letting go for a minute. Like, I could sit and observe him and watch what's going on and just observe it, but there's nothing I could do about it. It was a very surreal moment. I think it's just part of like growing up as a parent, right? Because as Owl grows up, so do I, and I always got to remember, I think that I have to fully just take such advantage of this time right now, because it is moving so quick. I can't believe Owl's going to be is closer to 5 than 4.5. What? He's almost 5 and has full has his own group of friends. Like, it's funny when I pick him up from school, I'm like, so how was school? What'd you do today? He's like, I don't want to tell you. He does not like to tell me about school. It's his own private world. It's very interesting. Like, he likes to keep it to himself too. Like, he does not like to share about what he did at school. That's between him and his friends and his teachers. It's very interesting, because I'll ask him, I go, so how was school? He's like, good. I go, what'd you do today? I don't want to tell you. What does he say? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. At first I was a little concerned, but then I just realized, like, he's just like his dad. His dad doesn't like to answer questions either. Like father, like son. And I think that's part of what I was observing today is, as much as he is his own human being, he is definitely very similar to me, and all of his personality things are directly linked to me and his mom. But you know, I can definitely see me in him, and I've got to be super aware of that. I don't know, it was a good experience, but it was definitely like a space I observed. So anyway, I thought I would just share that with you. You know, hey, this is The Illusion. Links down below. Support the channel. Get some t-shirts. Buy some art. Send some Legos. Whatever you want to do, it's all good. We're just moving through the dream, trying to stay super positive and raise the children to do a better job than we've done, right? Anyway, this is The Illusion signing off.